Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. What if I told you the only thing standing between you and your next big opportunity is your voice? This isn't just another program. Empower Your Message is your ticket to becoming the podcast guest everyone wants. You'll learn how to craft a pitch that gets a hell yes, show up with unshakable confidence, and drop truth bombs that leave hosts and audiences wanting more. No more playing small. No more waiting for permission. It's your time to be heard. Loud, clear, and unforgettable. Visit the link in the show notes to sign up, and let's make your voice impossible to ignore. The mic is waiting. Are you ready? Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast, a platform that was created to help elevate and amplify the voices of women through sharing their stories. Today, my guest is Deena Kordt. She is a podcaster, a magazine owner and publisher, an author, a speaker, a mindset coach, and an advocate for domestic violence and abuse survivors. Welcome, Deena. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. I'm really excited to be here, Brad, and I appreciate the invitation.
I am very excited and honored to have you here today on my podcast. I had the absolute pleasure of being a guest on your podcast, and so it is an honor to now have you here on mine and to share a little bit about the beautiful light you put out into the world through all the work that you're doing, and to share a little bit about your story and journey. So welcome. And with that being said, let us jump right in. Now, that is a hell of a lot of hats you wear and quite the resume. I know you are an incredibly busy woman, so I'm curious, what thread is it that ties all of your roles, podcaster, publisher, speaker, author, coach, into a single mission or calling?
It is a lot. I like to consider that it's more of a multi-passionate entrepreneur, creator, connector than just a squirrel following all the shiny things. I just find that the common thread, I think, is curiosity and connection and creativity. So I really love connecting people, creating a sense of community. And it's funny because I would call myself an extroverted introvert. I really am happy and being in my own company, just my own space. That's a real comfort zone. When I am around people, I just can't help but be drawn to those that are on the outside, or even as a small child, my mom said I was like that. I would be drawn to those that were trying to be invisible or not feeling like they fit in. And I'm now realizing that is something that never left me. And it's probably because I related to that to some degree. And there were factors in my life that caused that. So it's really that draw of wanting to connect people, to do it in a creative way, express myself creatively as well, and have curiosity. You know, what is really there? It isn't always what it appears to be.
Yeah, for sure. There is an incredible amount of joy because I'm very similar to you. I think I'm an introvert as well, but I think I've learned to become extroverted a little bit, I think. But there is such a joy in being able to connect people with each other and to see those relationships flourish into something else and grow and expand. It brings me personally, and I'm sure it does the same for you, such pleasure to be able to do that for other people, because we are, I think, and I'm speaking for you, but I think you'll agree, we are big into being in and of service to people. It's part of who we are, and it's part of the work that we do. So it really does. It brings great joy to be able to do that for people. So thank you for sharing that. Now, with so many titles behind your name, who are you without those labels? Like at the core of Deena, who are you?
I like to describe myself as a recovering invisible woman. So that's really who I am. And I'm discovering new levels of invisibility, new areas of invisibility every day. And I'm learning that there have been factors that have caused me to really hone that skill. It's considered a superpower in some ways, but for me, it was a survival mechanism in many ways. And I don't think that was always healthy. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't a way to thrive. It wasn't a
Mhm.
way to be safe. It gave a sense of safety, but it was better to use my power to leave situations like that wherever possible. And that is now what feeds my passion is that recovery. But part of that recovery is helping other people who feel invisible or are trying to keep a part of their life invisible to be seen, to be heard, to feel safe and know that they aren't alone.
Really, at the heart of it, I think for everybody, that's all we really want is to be seen and heard. It's not a very big ask to just be seen and heard, but yeah, I believe that's all we really want at the core of things. That's all we really want is to be seen and heard by other people.
And that's the beauty of the work that you're doing as well, Brad, is
Thank you.
to give women a space to be seen and heard and recognized and celebrated. It's very empowering to see those examples
Thank you.
before us.
Thank you. When did you realize, Deena, that your voice wasn't just meant to be heard, but it was meant to shift the narrative?
I had been part of a small group of female entrepreneurs, and one lady there that had been writing books, encouraging people to write their thoughts. And she mentioned something that really stuck with me. And that is that we are obligated to to a huge degree, really obligated to share the things that we've learned through our life lessons or experiences with others and offer that learning, offer those lessons. And I went, ooh, why not take those things that have been difficult or a struggle or a life lesson and offer that as inspiration and encouragement for others? And so it it felt like I could serve with that. I wasn't healing alone.
Yeah.
I wasn't growing alone. I
Yeah.
wasn't just existing and sorting through this mess myself, but we could actually take in and offer that as a gift to others. And so that being obligated, that was an interesting concept that really resonated with me.
I agree wholeheartedly. That is the biggest piece of the Empowerography platform is sharing women stories like yourself so that other women can perhaps learn from mistakes that you've made or lessons that you've learned in your journey so that they don't have to go through those same things, that there's a little bit of an easier route to take through someone else's experience. And I agree. I think that we all have stories. And this is a big thing that I've noticed, that I've seen and heard from a lot of the women that I've interviewed, is that they don't believe they have a story. So there's the first problem,
Yeah.
because every single person on this planet has a story. And this is where this responsibility, or what word did you use? Not responsibility,
Obligation.
obligation comes in to share that story, because I can guarantee every single person out there, it will impact and help at least one person. And isn't that really what it's all about, is being able to help one person? Of course, we want to help as many as possible, but if you can walk away from a conversation or an interview like this or something, knowing that you have helped one, just one person out there,
Yeah.
that's what we're here for. So I think that's a beautiful way to put it. It is an obligation. Absolutely. We need to share our stories. That's how we learn.
And it's a gift.
For sure it is.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
100%. Why wouldn't you share your knowledge that you have, your experience, your wisdom? This is something
Oh,
I
it,
people hoard knowledge. They're scared. I
mm,
believe it comes from a lack mindset, wanting to hoard knowledge and not share it.
it can. For me, it was more of fear and vulnerability for my story.
Mm.
And I think, like you say, not everybody recognizes that's a story
Yeah.
and it could impact others. in a positive way or an encouraging way if they are stuck in something similar, that they can then see an example of somebody who has overcome that or grown from that, that there's hope, right?
When I'm talking about hoarding knowledge, I'm talking about if you have taught yourself or learned to do something and you're scared, you don't want to share it. I think that's where the scarcity and lack mindset comes in. Is like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not going to share that information. I had to go through this to learn it. So why shouldn't they? Because I've heard people say this. Why shouldn't they have to go through that to learn it?
Ouch.
I had
Yeah.
to. And that's a lack mindset.
Yes.
And we need to shift that narrative as well, because it's about stepping into that abundance mindset and knowing that there is more than enough to go around. I don't care what industry, what business you run, it does not matter. There is more than enough, because guess what? The thing that sets you apart is you. No one else is you. So share the knowledge. Why wouldn't you? Why
I
wouldn't you
agree.
help someone benefit and grow? But people do come from that lack mindset, and that's where I believe it comes from. But yes, I love that you shared that. Yeah, sometimes it's scary to share our stories.
Yeah.
Right. So it's getting past that, but your story is someone else's life raft. So share it, help people.
Yeah, that's a great visual.
What has been for you the most empowering part of sharing your voice, and what has been the most vulnerable?
The most empowering is being seen. The most vulnerable is being seen. The most empowering is being heard. The most vulnerable is being heard. The most empowering is having feedback from people that what has landed has really resonated. And that is also can be the most vulnerable, because it's sad, it's heavy to think that others are also, that they actually can relate to some of what I've said. But a lot of that empowerment is that feedback, that there is impact. People are hearing it. It could create change. It's going to create curiosity. We're opening conversations. We're disrupting some stigmas. And that's very empowering to think that my voice, when I've tried most of my life to be invisible, and with some courage have spoken up and shared things that are difficult and heavy and things that I was spent most of my life hiding, that I share those now. And it's so empowering that it can make a difference, that my voice is a solid thing into the world that can cause change and help to alleviate some of the toxin that's happening in the, yeah.
Our words have such power. We don't even realize it sometimes, the power that our words carry on both a negative and a positive side, right? Because you can do a lot of damage with your words, but you can also do an incredible amount of good with your words too. Your platforms give voice to stories, which are often kept hidden in the dark. How do you protect your own mental and emotional health when holding space for others' pain?
It is heavy. It is hard. And it can be triggering as well. And so to protect myself, I find that it's easier for me to protect myself that way if I'm not staying on the front lines. I'm not on a helpline. I'm not working at a shelter. I have the highest regard and gratitude for those who can do that work. And many have come from similar situations. And I really appreciate that they do that. But for me, to protect myself, at least at this stage, is to not spend a lot of time at those front lines, but also be there encouraging those who could be helping, or get people curious to ask, to understand how they can help someone that they're concerned about or be more aware. And that for me then feels safer. I can stay in that a lot longer.
Yeah.
And so I recognize when I need to step back. And then what I do is I'll try and surround myself with those who are ahead of me in the healing, or they're ahead of me in that work and that learning and that awareness. And so then it inspires me, and I'm like, okay, I'm not alone in this. There are many people, and I keep discovering more every day, who are very passionate about this work. And so that helps feed my energy for the work. And then I'm reignited, sort of thing, to step back into it and know that I'm not alone with this awareness campaign and helping the victors over violence to find their voices.
Yeah, that's a big piece of it, right? Is knowing that you're not alone. And I think that when we hear others speak of their experiences, that's the permission slip that a lot of people are waiting for, so that they realize and know that, wait a minute, Deena's gone through this, or so and so's gone through this. I'm not the only one. And it's important because that also creates a level of comfortability
Yes.
to be able to share in a safe environment, for sure.
Yeah.
How do you balance creativity with purpose when you're building content that's meant to impact lives and not just get clicks?
I am still working on that balance, Brad. I love being creative. I can really get down in the weeds and just create and new ideas, and where the balance is a little off is creating those clicks and getting that engagement. And it's very difficult with this demographic to gain that trust. They're there. I see the digital media stats. The audience is there. They're looking for this kind of information, this kind of connection, this support, but you won't see the engagement because they do feel vulnerable in being public with the fact
Yeah.
that they are engaging with this kind of content. So I need to trust that they need this. I'm helping, I'm making an impact, I'm supporting them, and keep creating what I'm doing. And so that balance can be a challenge to stay motivated and to stay energized to keep creating when you're not sure if is it
Hitting. Yeah.
landing?
Is it land? Yeah,
And
exactly.
and there's a struggle too to monetize it, because if I want this to continue to be available, it needs to be sustainable. To be sustainable, it needs to generate something that I can buy the milk and bread from and pay
Yeah.
the rent, sort of thing. It's a passion project that I am living my purpose and also hoping that can be sustainable. So that,
Yeah.
yeah, still working on that
It
balance.
is a tough balance, for sure.
Yeah.
How do you stay aligned with your message when the pressure to produce can feel overwhelming, relentless, as you just touched on? So how do you stay aligned with the message when this stuff keeps coming? Like, how can I keep doing this and keep helping people, but also help me?
I've added life changes to the divorce part of the work I was doing. So it's broader than divorce and abuse. And I find that if I can spend some time out of the heavy stuff and really see where I'm inspiring people, then that helps. And then I am always brought back. That alignment happens again because there will be a conversation, there will be an invitation, a connection, something like that will happen that really reinforces. Yes, I know it's heavy. Yes, some days are hard, but it's so important. And I'll feel that emotion come up when I'm talking about, oh, the injustice of it, or I need to speak, I need to make this difference. And again, to be surrounded by those who have that same passion does help me feel aligned, and I'll hear something new or I'll learn something new. And I think, yes, this needs to be shared. And I'm so grateful I have the platforms to do that. And
Yeah.
so I do find that I can really connect again with what I'm passionate about. And that then I feel that line, I'm back and
Yeah.
I'm on fire again. And
Feels
I'm ready
good.
for this. Yeah, it
Yeah.
feels right.
What internal battle have you had to win before you could show up in the world as your most powerful self?
That's that recovering invisible woman. It is so strong. It's a natural inclination to just want to pull back to be safe. I've been hypervigilant most of my life to watch for triggers and cues and try and mitigate anything that was unsafe or threatening. And that takes a lot of energy, but it also becomes a comfort zone.
Yeah.
That's where I would feel most comfortable, is not being seen, not being heard, not using my voice, because that's going to trigger abuse, that's going to trigger a negative reaction. And I was super good at it. So it's an internal struggle all the time. Turn the camera on myself, speak up, go in front of a large crowd and tell my story, to open conversations and disrupt stigmas or challenge misconceptions. And all of that it's an inner struggle. It's getting better. I'm getting stronger at it, but I am still a recovering invisible woman. And I appreciate that I have these platforms and invitations like you've shared here today, Brad, to speak to your audience about this. It still is, this is important work. I have a purpose. I'm needed to share this. I'm needed to speak this. So I'm going to overcome that inner struggle of wanting to just slide into invisibility.
So a lot of it, I would imagine, is knowing that this is your purpose. You have to do this work. But not only that, but that by stepping out of the invisibility and showing up visibly is helping other people. That's the encouragement and the inspiration to get out of the invisibility.
And that's two-sided, because I want to create awareness that there are invisible people among you. Things are not always as they appear. Like you said earlier, Brad, everyone has a story. Let's get curious about that. Let's actually, like, the real story, what's really going on. And also to encourage those people who are being invisible, trying very hard to be invisible for their own safety, or to not let others know what's happening in their life, to keep that invisible, to also give them permission to come and talk to any one of us. They can trust us. We'll believe them. We care. We've been there, or are still there to some degree.
Oh, because there's a lot of shame around all of that stuff too. And as you just mentioned, the fear of not being believed. Then the whole shame thing kicks in. And what did I even say anything for? Because nobody believes me. And there's the shame that kicks in as I shouldn't have done that. So the work you're doing is incredibly important. And
Thank you.
I think it's amazing that you are putting aside your struggles, not putting them aside, but confronting them more, because you know that it's more important for you to be there to help and to guide others. So you're putting your invisibility, your fears, your struggles on the back burner, so to speak, so that you can step forward and step out of the invisibility and help others. That is a completely, totally selfless act. And it's powerful.
It is. Thank you. I hadn't really thought of it that way, but yeah, it is a way of serving.
For sure. Absolutely, it is 100%. As mentioned, you're a magazine publisher. Can you tell us about the magazine, the title, the content, what inspired you to want to publish a magazine, and how long have you been publishing?
It's a fun story because I met a lady who had founded the magazine. So she is phenomenal. She has also features women in business here in Alberta, and she publishes a magazine and has a whole community around that, mentoring, you name it. But she also had started Divorce Magazine Canada.
Okay.
And when I met her, she had been doing it for about 10 years, and it was an annual print magazine that was freely distributed around the Calgary and Edmonton areas. And I saw it and I said, wow, I think this could do even more. I have done social media management. I've built websites. I've done published books. I've written books. I've created content. I think I could help you with, and done all of these things for myself and for other businesses. And I'd love to see this reach more people. And we had a conversation. And at the end of that conversation, I had bought the magazine. And she was just very open. She's open about her age. She was in her early 70s. And she said, I'm looking for the right fit for someone to take this over. I really want to continue to focus on the other parts of my business. And I just sounds like you have the right skills, you've got the right
Mhm.
interest in this. So we were just about to go to print in early 2023. And I followed that model. I brought on some more advertising clients. And so the magazine is advertorial content. So it's
Okay.
freely distributed, but the
Mhm.
people that are featured in the magazine pay for that space. What the tone I loved, the whole vibe of it was very empowering information. So
Mhm.
whether you ever contacted those people or not, you learned something, you gained some empowering information to help you through whatever stage you were in for around divorce. So it might be questions around law, obviously, mediation, real estate, finance, empowerment, health, all those types of things. And I loved that. And I then, through that year, right away, I started a podcast. In fact, I printed in the magazine that went out that there was a podcast coming, and I hadn't even launched my first episode. But I did almost simultaneously. I put out the first 3 episodes, and we're at about 200 episodes now. It's been a couple of years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I love it. I love it because I think that's my favorite platform of all that I've created around this. It's called Life Changes Channel. And you can multitask, you have the visual, you have the audio, it reaches people. And there's a YouTube channel that complements that as well. And what I did then is I thought, there must be a better way. And she was completely supportive of whatever I wanted to do. She offered to mentor me in any way I wanted to be
Amazing.
mentored and very supportive. So I decided that I was going to go 100% digital quarterly so that there was more current content and add newsletters on the other 8 months that there weren't new full magazines. So basically
Right.
it's mini magazines because sometimes those newsletters are around 20 pages, the magazine's around 60, and it's quite a bit of content. I love that it was hyperlinked and more accessible. I was still bumping up against that negative stigma. Businesses didn't want to display it. People didn't want to have a copy in their hand that said
Right.
divorce on the cover. And that way it could be discreetly shared and accessed globally. And it's now top ranking. It's top ranking magazine, podcast,
Amazing.
blog as well. And it's organic. I'll get an email from another organization that rates and ranks. And I'll say to my SEO assistant, is this legit? And she's, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is so good that it's being noticed, and there is a need, obviously.
Mhm.
So I was excited about all of those things. I also thought, okay, many of the people I'm featuring can help people regardless of whether there's a divorce involved or not at any stage. Much of this is relevant to all kinds of different life changes. So I started a second magazine so last year there was the whole new digital concept with Divorce Magazine Canada, which I rebranded slightly and just called it DMC. So it wasn't like divorce across
Yeah.
the cover. And then I added Life Changes Magazine. And this spring I merged them as Life Changes and Divorce. So
Okay.
it was like an introduction, and so many people loved that concept because it was broader. It was what's beyond divorce. What is, if regardless of divorce. So we had a lot of career and education, and then all the other things I mentioned earlier. So that was exciting to see that there's definitely interest there as well. So now that's what the magazine, Life Changes and Divorce Magazine. And then the podcast continues, expanded social media, the blog, added a second Shift Happens talk show that I co-host with a friend. And so we talk about the shifts that happen in our lives, whether they're expected or not, plus the ones we want to create.
Right.
Besides that, I'm also collecting stories for my next book, or one of my next books, called Hope in Hell. And those are anonymous stories from people who've been through domestic abuse, domestic violence, and offer that hope to people who are in those situations to see something that is relatable to them and give them hope. Because my story is only one story, and
Right.
there's many other stories. And so far, people who are submitting, like, we don't have enough for the book, but it's growing. That collection
Yeah.
is growing. And in the meantime, I want those stories to be shared. And many that have already submitted their stories are willing to do this to share their name. Now, in the book, we're just across the board will be anonymous. But in
Yeah.
the meantime, I've expanded the story content within the magazines, and I'm sharing these stories so that they can get out there, so that people are seeing them. And that is a way that we can really encourage and empower people. So the magazine is different than when I took it over. And it's only been, so in 23 it was print, 24 it was the 2 digital, and now 25 we have the 1 merged digital that's quarterly. So it's still new. It's still growing and changing.
In its infancy
Besides that,
still.
yeah, we also offer online support groups that
Okay.
I offered all through 23 and 24 and I've changed those somewhat to be panels that are specific. So we had a parenting panel, and then we also have had a finance and real estate panel. And that way people can ask questions of those experts and meet them. And how do you gain trust with this demographic? Like I've mentioned earlier, is
Yeah.
show up, offer information that empowers them. We care, show them that they're not alone. So there's also a divorce diaries series on the podcast where people can share their journey and how they navigated their divorce and also help people.
Amazing. Congratulations on all the expansion and growth and success. I think it's amazing and inspiring to watch and to see. Thank you for sharing all that.
I appreciate the
Kudos to
invitation
you.
for that. Thanks. Yeah. We're working now to try and get this in front of people who are at work where they spend most of their time, have those partnerships with the employee assistance programs and the wellness programs and HR,
That's a
because they
brilliant
don't
idea.
always know. People come in very siloed, and it's like, how can we disrupt these negative stigmas, open those conversations, and offer these resources?
For sure. Absolutely. Because conversation it's the catalyst. That's how we start to make changes, opening up and having the conversations about these things. I think that's amazing.
Yeah. And in corporate culture, it's changing. It is very positive to see that is changing. It's being more human centric and trying to really support. But on the dollar side, it's a 1.5 billion plus cost to corp in Canada for loss in productivity and retention due to these things. So if we can help support, it's a win-win for everybody.
For sure it is. Absolutely. What impact do you want your voice, your magazine, and your message to leave behind in, say, 10 years from now?
I'm hoping that all the people I hear from now saying, oh, I wish this was available when I went through it, now have a resource they can share with others, because the rate, say, of divorce alone is roughly 50% in first marriages and higher in subsequent. And abuse is an epidemic. 1 in 3 women, 1 in 4 men is affected by domestic abuse and violence, which isn't always physical. Even the legal definition is not just physical. So that education piece and offering those resources so that it is there. And that legacy, I think, is the personal side of it, that I've created and offered this. And it doesn't have to be, oh, that was Deena Kordt, but I want them to know that there's a resource. They aren't alone. And it's a community.
Yeah.
So that is what I want to still be thriving 10 years from now, is this community of curious, caring humans.
50% divorce. That's insane. That is a staggering statistic, and even higher in second or third. Holy shit. That's crazy.
And
why do you think that is, though? Like, when I think about that, you tell me, the first thought that comes to mind is the evolution of society, how we've become this convenience
disposable
focused. Yes. Oh, this isn't working. Fuck it. I'm leaving. I'm not putting in the work. I'm done. We had a fight. It's over. It's done. I can't be bothered wasting my time. I'm moving on to the next thing. I would say that's probably a big part of why the divorce rate is so high.
I think it's partly that. There's been a lot of stress and anxiety in general that people are dealing with. And then you add relationship in there. The pandemic didn't help. It definitely escalated domestic abuse and violence when people are isolated together. I'm very adamant that people know I'm not promoting divorce because of the work I do. Any way that we can help to support people in their relationships and encourage them to try and make it work first, then that's important. If there's abuse involved, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure why it's so high. It's been like this for a while. And that's even considering that the trend now is away from formal marriage.
Right.
So those stats are even skewed a bit, and it's higher because we're looking at actual married people,
Right.
not the common law relationships and
Mhm.
that type of thing. So it's at least 50%. And it is sad, but
It is.
as I think each generation is more likely to have come from that type of home.
Mm.
It sometimes makes it easier to go that route, and sometimes they fight harder for their relationship. So
Yeah.
I don't think there's just a one single thing we can point
No.
at.
I think that's a big factor, though. People just giving up and saying, you know what? Fuck it. I'm moving on. I think
It,
that's probably a big piece of it.
it is, but what's interesting, it's not the largest portion, but it's the fastest growing is gray divorce. It's people
Right.
who've been married 40, 50 years even, or 30, 40, 50, and
Mhm.
they're leaving now in their 60s and 70s and beyond, and just
Wow.
saying, you know what, I can't do it anymore. I want something different. And that's an interesting stat.
That's very interesting. Wow. Gray divorce. Never heard that term before. How has your work as a publisher influenced the stories you choose to uplift and amplify?
I am so passionate for people to be able to share their voice. I'll hear, and again, just the other day, I was in a networking meeting and somebody was saying, I think I want to write a book someday, but I do have a blog. And I'm just like, boom, you have a book.
Mm.
You take that blog, and I find out they've only put out 1 or 2 posts so far, and I congratulate them like, great, you have the start of a book. But people have a story, and it's worth sharing and being
For sure.
heard. And like we started out, Brad, we were like, everybody has a story. They don't
Yeah.
always recognize that.
That's
And
right.
so I'm just so excited. And the lady that inspired me to do this, the one that was saying we're all obligated to share our story, I now understand her passion for helping people publish their own book or publish their stories or start a blog. She's the one that really encouraged me to start a blog. And from that, it turned into books and speaking and website and I mean everything. So I see that potential for people. And if they have any inkling to want to share that story, I'm right there cheerleading them because, how can we turn the camera on or post something on your social media, start sharing that story in little bits and pieces as you gain courage and you feel the sense of people wanting to hear more. I'm just passionate about helping people be seen and heard because that's part of what has helped me heal. And I know it's going to help them.
Beautiful.
Whatever I say heal, but grow too.
Yeah,
Heal,
exactly.
grow, be empowered.
For sure. 100%. What is one uncomfortable truth that you had to confront to become the woman you are today?
Yeah. The uncomfortable truth is that I didn't walk away unscathed. I am so grateful that I wasn't completely broken when I left. Like the whole time I would have this, it's your instinct, my inner strength, that inner voice, my higher self, whatever it might be, thinking, there is a power bigger than this person that's trying to control me, destroy me, and undercut, just demoralize, like everything. There's something bigger. And I think that kept me from being completely broken. So I just thought, okay, I'm going to leave and it'll be over with, done. Yikes. That was uncomfortable to realize. And I'm still uncovering it. I was talking with a therapist yesterday and I uncovered more layers and levels and went deeper and went, wow, it makes me angry. I feel hurt. I feel like more was taken from me than I realized. And that's uncomfortable to think, eek, I have to face this or it's just going to sit there. And
It's a fucking journey.
yep, you betcha.
Wow.
But it's so worth it. It's worth it because you feel stronger every time and you let more of that go. It adds to my story. It adds to what I can share and say, here's another level of shit I dropped and it's gone. Okay, moving on.
Yeah. I applaud your courage and your strength and your resilience.
Thank you, Brad. I appreciate it.
If leadership had a sound, what would your version of it say to women who are still finding their way?
Oh, that's a great question. I a sound. For me, I'm a part of that invisibility is quiet and not being loud. And for me, I think that sound is a hum. It's just a hum of connecting with that deep peace that's inside every one of us and feeling that strength and that wisdom that we carry that we don't always give ourselves acknowledgement of. And it's there. I'm strong. There is peace inside. And with that, I can lead. With that, I have something to give. I have from that strength a voice that I can share. And so, how can I lead from that place of strength and peace and wisdom and not just the pain?
Yeah.
And for me, that's, I think, what that sound is.
Okay. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. If your story was a map, what place would be marked "Do Not Return," and what place would be marked "This is where I reclaimed myself"? Deena.
Oh, today of all days that we're recording this is actually would have been my 38th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
And I left just over 30 years. I think that would be on the map. I can't imagine my life without my two incredible children that came from that, and two beautiful grandchildren subsequently after that. But if I could go back there, I think that would be a do not return, or a do not return to who I was at that time. We don't choose to be abused.
Right.
We do have choice, though, to stay or to leave. And that's extremely difficult. I just want people to not judge when people see women or men return to those situations, because it's very difficult to leave. So don't judge if people go back, but know that if you're there, you have a choice. There's ways. It can be hard. And the place that I would want to, where the turning point happened was when I left and just went, wait a minute, you're more powerful than you think. You can do hard things. You can leave. You can reclaim that. And so that would be where the turning point was.
Yeah. And so what inspires you to become the advocate you are now for domestic violence and abuse survivors? And why have you decided to make this such an integral part of the work you do? I imagine that your personal experiences played into this, but what was the inspiration or the catalyst for you that led you down this path of advocacy work?
It was personal experience. We talked earlier about alignment. So sometimes when I think this is heavy, can I live my purpose some other way? And there are multiple ways, but I find where I get the most passionate is to speak up for those who aren't safe to speak yet, help them find their voice to become victors over this violence, and to expose this bullshit that's happening.
Yeah.
This is horrible treatment of other humans. And so that, I think the catalyst for that as well was as I started to blog, as I was starting to share my voice, share it on social media, do reels where I'm actually challenging this treatment or questioning and trying to disrupt this comfort zone. Like, we just want to look the other way, and maybe somebody else will take care of that, and that's between those people and whatever, and really trying to poke holes in that. And then when this magazine opportunity came, divorce organically leads to conversations about abuse. And I have total strangers that will come up, and because of the work I'm doing, open those conversations with me.
Wow.
Part of that is that I wanted to do more public speaking. So there's a need. And that, again, is a way to be an advocate for teaching, for bringing awareness, for disrupting those stigmas, to encourage those who are on those front lines that we see them, we are grateful for the work they're doing, and to partner and encourage them.
Yeah.
And then also just the general public. Can we please be curious without judgment? Can we get to know what is really happening in people's lives, and let them know that we see them, they don't need to be invisible, and we believe them.
Love it. How do you stay connected to hope and resilience on the days when the weight just feels so fucking heavy?
Yeah, it's tough. I'm getting better at recognizing it before it takes me out at the knees. So I think that's a big part of it is there's just so much that needs to be done, so many things I could be doing. And with that creative mindset, that I just keep thinking of other ways. And like I was saying earlier, I keep discovering others who are doing this work and I want to connect with them and I want to work with them and let's collaborate and whoa, like at some point I need to just pump the brakes a little bit and say, do you have the energy and capacity? Are you taking care of yourself? That's where I turn to rest, self-care, get out in nature, spend time with family, a good friend, journal, get in touch with that. Where is my mindset right now? What do I need to write down and work through? I mentioned earlier that I see a therapist, I see a psychologist, I've started some EMDR. I am seeking support and help as well. This is an ongoing journey. It's something that I need to model too. I don't have this perfected, but those are ways I need to pause and take care of myself. And part of that, Brad, that is really tough, and I hope you're doing this too, is to recognize and celebrate what you have done. So yesterday in the session I was in, that was a revelation to me to offer some compassion to myself back when I was in there and go, damn girl, like you actually you did amazing things even through. Look how you lived, look how you created, look how you gave to your community, look how you showed up. Yes, in a shroud of invisibility sometimes, but you didn't break. You didn't completely break. And that wasn't an entire waste of time. Yes, you feel like he's taken so much from you, but wow, let's celebrate what we have accomplished. Let's really acknowledge that and embrace that. And that then helps propel us forward.
Absolutely. It also gives a permission slip to others to celebrate because we as human beings do not celebrate our wins when they're small, when they're big, because I think we are so caught up in the hustle culture bullshit, in the constant doing and keep going and finish one thing. Okay, it's on to the next. No time to breathe and sit back and reflect. Holy shit, I did that. Like I did that today. How fucking cool is that? Like, no matter what it is, no matter how big or small it is, acknowledge it, recognize it, and celebrate it. We don't do that. We don't take the time to slow down and, as they say, smell the roses. And we all need to do that for sure.
And to any listeners that are out there that are in a place where they feel threatened or unsafe, is to go, wow, I got up today. I recognize, what I'm having to get through, and that is a win.
For sure.
Like even just getting up and getting through that day, and that is a win. And if you can share with someone what you're experiencing, I encourage you to do that. If they don't believe you or they question you, move on, find another person.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you for sharing all of that, Deena. If you could write a letter to every survivor in the world, what would it say?
You are not alone. You are not invisible. Your story matters. You're stronger and more powerful and there are so many people who care and really do want to help you.
That's something I wanted to say is we don't give ourselves enough credit. We are a hell of a lot stronger than we think we are.
And you hear that bantied around all the time. It's on t-shirts and freaking mugs and whatever. But it's, whoa, when you actually get a taste of that, of the power and the strength that you have, that's when it sinks in. I didn't think I could do that. I didn't think I could leave. I was so conditioned from my childhood that that's wrong and you got to stay married and you forgive and then when you actually just take a big scary step for your good, you listen to your instincts. I think that's another thing I'd have in that letter is listen to your instincts, trust them, take a step towards your safety and your freedom. Do what, and I'd say that to my younger self too. Do what might you think is too hard, do it, even in a little way. And then the next step will be revealed. And that's what when you'll start discovering your power. I heard an interesting analogy that really clicked with me just a few days ago. I saw it in a book. And when people are in that situation that's so toxic, it is comparable to the lion's love for a lion tamer. So it's, oh, I can't leave. I do love him. Or they go back as well, but I do love him. That's that warped sense of love. Once you get out of it, you start to understand where that came from. But it's like the way the lion loves the lion tamer. He does not realize, he thinks that he's reliant on the lion tamer. He has to listen. And then when he realizes, ooh, why am I am so powerful. I'm
Why am I listening to
resourceful.
this?
I have other choices, right?
Mhm.
And I think that's a way for people on the outside sometimes to maybe understand as well, is that it isn't the kind of love maybe that they consider or define love as.
What is a question that you wish more people would ask survivors, but rarely do?
Are you okay? Are you really okay? What happened to you? I want to know, I want to understand and know that I'll believe you without judgment.
Okay. What does it really mean? Sorry, let me start again. As a mindset coach, Deena, what is the first lie that you help women unlearn?
That they need to be invisible in some way. I think that society is changing, but historically, women were to be in the background, whether it's work or in the family, whatever dynamic that might be. They were, and we inherently still, we might say we don't believe in that, but yet we'll just always draw back or play a little bit smaller. And that's a form of invisibility too. We feel like an imposter. I've heard it said, I wish I could remember exactly the term, but men don't struggle as much with their confidence. They're confident and say they'll just ask for what they need more easily maybe a woman will.
Yep.
And that's in general terms, but just, you don't have to be invisible. You aren't invisible. It's okay not to be invisible.
That starts with the conditioning. Just sit there and be quiet. Don't take up too much space. Don't be too loud. You're a girl. You shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't talk that way. You shouldn't say this.
Ladylike.
You shouldn't say, yeah, all the bullshit. It's hard to break that conditioning. And when that's been ground into, not literally beaten into you, but you know what I mean? When it's been constantly reiterated that this is how you have to be, it's very hard to break out of those patterns and those belief systems.
And it's so empowering if you just take that concept and sit with it for a little while. I don't have to be invisible. If I wasn't invisible, then what would I do? I could speak up more. I could show up more. I could allow myself to be seen. That's empowering. That's empowering.
Yeah, for sure. What does it really mean to lead from within? And how do you embody that in your life?
The within is the key there, because come back to that sound of leadership, that hum, that connection to there's peace, there's what's inside me. So curiosity is something I am a strong advocate for, is curiosity, but that starts with you. It's very common that we, especially as women, I think, we want to connect with others and really draw something out of them and take care of them and nurture them. Whoa, what about yourself? We aren't taking care of ourselves. We aren't nurturing ourselves. We aren't curious about what's happening inside ourselves, because that's a scary place to be sometimes. And I think that when we really come from within, then we are stronger. It's like that oxygen mask on ourselves first. Let's get brave and let's look within. Let's get curious. How am I really? Am I okay? Am I taking care of myself? Am I tired as fuck? Am I well hydrated? Is there something I want to do? Am I just push? Am I pausing to celebrate myself? What do I need? Have I asked for it? Get curious with yourself inside. Connect to that peace, connect that strength and the wisdom that you have. Don't always have to look from it from the outside.
I love it. If the woman you have become could meet the woman you were at your lowest point, what would she say to her? What would she whisper to her?
That would be, trust your instincts and know that it's telling you what you want, and take steps towards safety and freedom, no matter how hard they feel, because you are more powerful. You're stronger than you think. You can do hard things. And I think that's what I would tell her.
What is an unexpected blessing or occurrence in your life that you're grateful for?
My husband now and his family. I I I was adamant. If you ask any of my closest friends, even before I left the marriage, and some of them were divorced and dating and
Hmm.
interested in having another relationship. And I was just I there was zero doubt in my mind that I would ever want another relationship. And that's before I left the marriage, knowing that at some point, if I was out of it, I would just be so relieved to be by myself. I wanted absolutely no interest in ever being in another relationship. It just, and I was, and it wasn't out of fear. I was just like, oh, that would just be amazing to just nobody else in my life. And then life unfolded and I started getting healthier and stronger in myself and brave, learning more about manifesting and that kind of
Hmm.
thing, the mindset of abundance, and just wrote out a list of what set that bar pretty freaking high. And I would want all of this and none of this. And the universe went, oh, really? We know somebody.
Here you go.
Yeah. And wow, that was totally unexpected. And we've been together almost 7 years. He's got two beautiful, incredible daughters that you can fall in love with a guy and the kids are assholes. It can
Mhm.
be a
Oh yeah.
challenge, but no, amazing. They're just amazing. And his mom is just this incredible mother role. Like she's fun and she's yeah, not the evil mother-in-law type person. And his family is nice and fun and so welcoming. And that was totally unexpected.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become successful?
Optimism and curiosity, I think, and creativity.
Mm.
So that optimism has helped with my resilience and my curiosity has helped me grow.
Mm.
I'm a lifelong learner. It's helped me with the connection with others. And then the creativity is I've got all these ways that I can express that.
It's an outlet. Speaking of success, how do you define that word? What does success mean to you?
In all honesty, Brad, I struggle
Mhm.
with the definition of success. For me, I think if you can live your purpose and create a lasting positive impact, aka a legacy of some sort, that is success. But there's also that element that I struggle with that it success should also show some monetary rewards. And it doesn't have to. But in my mind, I think it should. And so there is a piece of that. I'll be honest
Mhm.
about that. And I do struggle with how to turn my purpose into something that can support me. And I judge myself again on that. I
Mhm.
don't judge others, but yet I judge myself that way.
Mhm.
Yeah. But I think really leaving that legacy of positive impact is a success.
Yeah. What does the word empowerment mean to you?
Connecting with your inner strength and using it to create what you want in your life.
Love that. Okay, we're going to jump into a little rapid fire section here. So the next group of
Woohoo.
questions will just be 1, 2, 3 word answer type thing. Okay.
Okay.
How would you describe yourself in one word?
Sunshine,
What is your favorite self care practice?
nature,
If you could teach the world one thing, what would it be?
curiosity.
What is one thing you want but cannot buy with money?
Legacy,
If you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
how I made people feel.
What is one thing you love about yourself that is not related to your physical appearance?
Optimism,
What is one word that defines the woman you are becoming?
disruptor.
I love that. That concludes our rapid fire section. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. I created a bonus question that I did not send you ahead of time. If you could take one feeling or one belief, bottle it up and give it to people, what would it be?
Joy.
If you could have 3 people, any 3 people in the world, alive or dead, sitting at your dinner table with you for dinner, who would those 3 people be and why?
Oh, only 3, Brad.
Yeah, intimate gathering.
An intimate gathering. I would have to say, I think some of the first people I would love to have. I never get to spend enough time with my kids, but that's an obvious answer, right? Honestly, it would be the most phenomenal dinner if my husband now and my mom's parents, my grandparents who have passed, if we could sit down and I could introduce them, because Kyle, my husband, reminds me so much of my grandpa, and I know they would love him. I would just love for them to be able to meet on a personal level. That's, I think, who I would maybe would be the first dinner.
Beautiful. If you could step into my shoes, what question would you have asked yourself that I didn't ask you?
What's next?
Okay, what's next?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't like being locked into things. I'm very creative. I just whatever curious thing crosses my path or that I want to learn, I never know what connection is going to come that is just going to be so fascinating and some new collaboration. And I go down that road. So I'm very much that take a step and the next step will be revealed.
Yeah.
And so I think what's next is getting in to help people in their workplace and really support them. That's what I see next in business.
Yeah.
And on the personal side is getting really more serious with my own self-care.
Beautiful. If you had the opportunity to sit down and have a 1-hour conversation with one woman, any woman in the world, who would it be and why?
I think this person probably comes up quite often, and I like to be different, but I've thought about this many times when I've been journaling too, is it still comes back to Oprah. And it's really because I admire curiosity in people, and I love to see how attentively she listens to people, how she sees things in them and pulls it out of them that they maybe haven't even recognized about themselves. And she does it with a deep knowledge, with a deep sense of love and caring and that human connection, and such a wealth of knowledge. And so to spend time with her and to see what she might see in me or pull out of me or help me understand how I can use my purpose to help others the way she does it in such a huge way.
Yeah.
But I'd be really curious to be basically mentored by her to some degree. And she's maybe more of an open book. You can learn more about her. But yeah, that's why I would like to spend time with her.
Okay. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
I think it's still back to trust your instincts. Like I mentioned earlier, that that is okay. Trust them. When something doesn't feel right, or if it does feel right, follow that invitation to trust your instincts.
Lastly, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, your tribe, your people, your corner of the world, what would that last 30 seconds sound like? What words of wisdom would you impart?
This actually makes me feel emotional, Brad. Tissue warning. Yeah. Love each other with curiosity and not judgment. Be kind. See each other as humans with a story and a heart. And we are all connected already. We are connected energetically. So honor that and show that love to yourself as well.
Beautiful. Deena, thank you so much for taking and making the time to be here with me today. It has been an absolute pleasure, as I knew it would be, having the opportunity to sit down and speak with you and to share in your journey and your story. And of course, the incredible work you're doing and the beautiful light you put out into the world through that work that you do. I appreciate you. I have thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. I am honored to call you a friend and to have you as a member of the Empowerography community. So thank you for being here with me today.
I so appreciate the invitation, Brad, and I am inspired by the work you do. I so admire that you are doing this work to empower women and give them that voice. And I'm just honored to be part of your community and amongst some of the absolutely phenomenal women that you have featured and that you support. So keep doing what you're doing. Absolutely amazing. And I loved your story too, and behind why you're doing what you're doing.
Well, you are one of those phenomenal women. So
thanks. I appreciate the opportunity to be seen and heard. And thank you for that.
My pleasure and my honor. Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of your Empowerography podcast. Today, my guest has been Deena Kordt. She is a podcaster, a magazine owner and publisher, an author, a speaker, a mindset coach, and an advocate for domestic violence and abuse survivors. Thank you so much, Deena. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.
You as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at visuphoria.ca, follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast, and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.